I have lived with trauma since I was a child. I was flashed at repeatedly as a young teenager. That progressed into rapes and attempted rapes from the age of 16. By 19, I found what felt like safety inside an abusive relationship. And I know how that sounds. But when you've been violated by strangers, there is something that feels almost like relief in knowing who is going to hurt you. At least I could predict it. At least he loved me in his way, holding guns to my head, knives to my throat, and I stayed. Because leaving felt more dangerous than the danger I already knew. When I finally ran, he had told me that he would find me within 2 days, and I knew what that meant. I had seen what happened to women who ran, so I changed my name, I disappeared, and I built a life from nothing, half hiding, half living. I raised a daughter in the in-between spaces, and I taught her that abusers don't look like monsters in the movies. They look like your uncle, the boy next door, the person who says they love you. Her name was Diva, forever 26. She grew up knowing the world was both extraordinary and dangerous. And she became a fighter for justice, just like her mum. But she was made vulnerable by the abuse that she was exposed to before she was even born, while I was pregnant and in her early life. The trauma I carried, she carried too. This is what domestic abuse and sexual abuse does. It doesn't stop at the person it targets. It reaches forward into the next generation. In her final weeks, Diva was made to feel that she was too much, that her pain, her needs, her presence was more than anyone could bear. When a woman has already been shaped by years of society telling her that her experience doesn't matter, those words don't just land. They confirm everything that she was taught to believe about herself. She died, and no one has ever been held accountable. Not for anything that happened to me, not for what shaped her life and her death. Not one prosecution, not one conviction. And I know I'm not alone in that. We now know, because it's been proven in a court of law, that a woman can have 177 contacts with domestic abuse services. That her death can trigger a domestic homicide review that finds that agency after agency failed to protect her. That the police force meant to protect her can be placed under investigation by the independent watchdog for gross misconduct in how they handled her death. That evidence can go missing, that a suicide note can disappear, that officers can stand in the room where she died and fail her one final time. We know that after all of that, after years of fighting with the world watching, a woman can still not be believed. Not in her life and not in her death. And we know that this is not one story. This is the architecture of a system that was not built for us. No justice, just a verdict. And this is not exceptional. This is a pattern. We are not believed. We are not protected. And when we die, the investigation into why we died is sometimes carried out by the very people who failed us while we were living. Now, I've stood in the system, and I did what you're supposed to do. I reached out, I ran, and I survived. And I raised a daughter who deserved to survive too. The law as it stands doesn't yet recognise that you can kill someone without ever pulling a trigger. That you can erode a person so completely and make them feel so utterly worthless and too much and beyond saving. And they do the work for you. And when they do, there's no charge. There is no conviction. There is barely even an acknowledgement. We are asking for safety. We are asking for justice. We are asking for truth to be taught in schools, in courts, in police stations. We are asking for the link between coercive control and suicide to be understood, not as a footnote, but as the headline that it is. We demand that a woman who dies after years of abuse is treated as a victim of that abuse, in life and in death. We demand that police forces do not investigate their own failings in the deaths of women they were meant to protect. We demand that our daughters grow up in a world that does not make them feel like they are too much. Mine didn't get that world, and I'm standing here so that yours might. No more. We are done waiting. We are done being too much for a system that has never been enough for us. Thank you so much for listening.